We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. It's all about the cash flow. So come on and get this money, man. Getting paper, and we always do it major on the slow, you know it.
What's up, everybody? Another night of game-winning drive. As always, I got my boys with me. We are presented by the Sports Box. I got my boy Brant. He's back after being away a week, trying to work in the bathroom. It didn't work out, so now we got him this week live and in charge. We also got Ryan in the bottom, and we got my boy Croghan in the bottom corner. Boys, we got a lot going on tonight. Before we dive into the weekend, as always, we're going to recap. I'm going to go through the show tonight. We got our hot takes. Defensive end Jadeveon Clowney has finally signed with the Cleveland Browns, Alex's team. We're going to first talk to Alex about that, see if it's a good fit. Does it change their draft for the first round? I think it will. So we're moving on to that, and then we're also going to dive into Gio Bernard being signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was it the right move? James Conner, another running back, also signing with the Arizona Cardinals. Was that the right move? And will he start over Chase Edmonds? We also going to get into the retire announcement of Julian Edelman. We're going to see if he is in Hall of Famer, since that's been the trading topic in sports all week. So I think most of us are going to agree that he's not, but we'll see. We'll dive into it and check it out. And then our buy and sell second down and third down, we are going to finish our mock, boys. Picks 23 from 23 to 32. Finish it up. And then obviously we're going to talk about next week. Me and Alex have a loaded show next week with the Sports Box, the draft show. We're doing our second part on Wednesday night, and then obviously Thursday night, which I can't believe we are almost there for the draft. It's close. We're getting close. We're getting close. Boys, how was your weekend? Brant, how was your weekend?
It was great. Went down to Myrtle Beach for my kids' spring break, which is obviously I tried to get on, but technical difficulties in a hotel were immense. But I'm glad to be back.
Good. Ryan, how was your weekend, man? Congratulations on getting married, my man.
It's real life now. Married man, ladies. I'm sorry to let all the ladies out there upset and let them down a little bit, but no, it was a great weekend. Had a lot of family in town. Got to see a couple people. Living in Virginia Beach from San Diego is kind of tough, so a lot of our close knit family came on down, and it was a great weekend. Great weekend.
Good. Alex, real quick, just to end it up. How was your weekend, man?
Great weekend, man. Celebrated Braden's 4th birthday. Even though it was the weekend before, obviously with Easter, we didn't want to overshadow Easter or his birthday, so we waited until this past weekend. Had a jump house with some slides and a house full of family. It was a lot of fun. Socially distanced, of course. It was a lot of fun, man. We had a great time and really celebrated. Of course, he made out like he always does, with more toys to just, bang on drums and drive me crazy. But that's the life of having a 4-year-old. So
definitely.
It's good, man.
Definitely. All right, boys, let's get into it. As always, first down, Hail Mary takes. We're going to do right now. We started off the show. We're going to start it off with our boy who is the resident Cleveland Brown fan. The Cleveland Browns have signed Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year deal. The deal is worth up to $10 million based on some bonuses. How great of a fit is this for both parties? Alex, I know you were nipping at the bit in our group talk that you wanted to talk about this. This has been working. This has been in plans for a year. He was trying to go with Cleveland last year. He ended up going with Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. Has some familiarity with there because Vrabel is from Houston. Now he's with Cleveland. He gets to line up with Myles Garrett. Talk to us.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a year late, a dollar late and a dollar short as far as his legacy, right? I think it's a great fit for him because he's playing on a good defensive line, obviously opposite of Myles Garrett, so he's got to get a lot of single coverage. Mm-hmm. I think he maybe has 5 to 7 sacks. I don't think we'll see a double-digit sack year from Clowney probably ever again, unfortunately for him. I know he's still, I think 28, 27, 28, somewhere in that range. So he's still not an old man by far. He just was not impressive last year. And obviously he was dinged, which has been an issue for him for a while. I'm excited to see what he does because I think it's going to give Miles a better chance to really, maybe sometimes get some single coverage. If Clowney has a game where he has 1 or 2 sacks, then maybe Garrett gets freed up, right? Our secondary is going to be much improved. I'm glad that we took an edge because everybody was saying we were going to take an edge, and I thought that's the dumbest thing in the world. Our only real weakness on our defense is linebackers right now. So this frees us up to take the best outside linebacker available. I'm excited, man. It really makes me happy. I think he'll be good. I just don't think he'll be great, and he lost out. We tried to give him a 3-year deal last year, and he only got a 1-year prove-it deal this year. So I think he left some money on the table for him by deciding to go to Tennessee for a year.
Right, that's been his MO the last couple of years, not being able to stay healthy, be on the field. He's been lined up with some great pass rushers opposite of him, J.J. Watt, and now he went over to Tennessee, and now he got traded to Seattle, where he had a pretty good defense with Bobby Wagner and Cliff Averill and all those boys. And now he went to Tennessee, and Tennessee didn't work out because he wasn't healthy. Now we get to Cleveland. Now he's on a prove-a-year deal once again. I really don't see. I mean, let's just say he hits 12 sacks, which would be amazing for you guys. I don't see him getting a multi-year, 3-year deal, Brant. I don't see it happening. What is your expectations for Clowney, and how big is this for the Browns?
I like it. I also like the signing of Tack McKinley. I like how they're bringing in guys that they're going to rotate opposite of Myles Garrett, keep Garrett a little bit fresher. But Clowney is, I don't know. He came in with all this hype. He's had good seasons, and he's had seasons where you're like, is he still in the league? He's like the Sammy Watkins of defensive ends, right? He's just very underwhelming in his career with expectations. But I could see him getting 6 to 8 sacks this year, playing in more of a part-time role. His best years did come playing opposite of like a great rusher. And I think some of this will take some of the pressure off Myles Garrett because just the name Jadeveon Clowney brings up some fear in offensive linemen. But like you said, I don't see him being a player where he's going to get like a 2 or 3 year deal. He's going to get through his career doing 1-year deals like this that are prove it with incentives.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, it's just the name of the game when you're just hurt and you have that MO sticking with you in your career, especially in the latter part. I don't know. I think he's reaching what? Is he almost 28, 29? He's up there in age, right? I think he turns
28 this year. I think he's 27 now. Oh. He turns 28 before the season. So
you might have a chance.
Done, he'll be 29. I mean, you're not really giving multi-year deals to almost 30-year-old defensive end.
No, Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts on this, and how does this improve the Browns' defense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's been a long time since he's been opposite a guy like a J.J. Watt in his prime. And coming into the Browns right now, Myles Garrett's one of the best edge rushers in the league. I think the biggest benefit for the Browns is the reality is they're getting at him at such a discount for a guy could maybe has a breakout. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. The health thing's always going to be an issue with the guy. Can't stay healthy. It's been going all the way back to college that it's been like that. But at the age of 28, maybe he's still got a little juice left. He's getting paid $10 million, which ranks him, last I checked, like 26th in the league. That's a good discount for a guy that can come out and if you're paying for 6.5 sacks there. If you get anywhere upwards of 8 and even double digit, that's pretty solid. That's what the Browns are hoping to get. But I think the reality is going to be 5.5 to 6.5 is what they're paying for.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have no argument with that as well. I mean, for me personally, I love the signing a lot. Just speaking from my side, I think this helps the defense even more. It doesn't hurt having Clowney, even if he came as a rotational player, like Brant said, with McKinley being signed. That's a brilliant move by the Cleveland defense and the management, be able to have him and be able to, because he is still an edge specialist. He does have great moves. He has good first step moves. His technique is there. His skill set is there. The problem is, and his problem always will be, is can he stay consistent and play a full 16-game season or 17-game season? Correct me, 17-game season. That's where we need to see Clowney be beneficial. But like Ryan said, he hit the nail on the head. $10 million. That's if he reaches his bonus incentives. So I mean, right. it's a great discount, and it's going to help this defense even more. And let's just face the facts. It's also going to help Myles Garrett even more. Because if another guy on the other side is working that D and C gap like no other, that means you're going to have to shift off from that double coverage, the double man block with Myles, and you're going to have to focus on Clowney. So I mean, it's a great move. I honestly think it's one of the most underrated signings in the offseason for me personally. All right, guys, let's gonna move on here. The Atlanta Falcons announced and went to to quarterback Justin Fields' second pro day, which was today. And by the way, he killed it. The little bit of images that it wasn't televised, but the little images that we saw from Bleacher Report absolutely killed it. I read a couple of Twitter accounts. It looked better than his first pro day. Was this a smokescreen, Ryan, from Atlanta, just because they want to get that interest popping off, just in case Fields drops to 4 and there could be a potential trade partner? Or was this really a thing where Atlanta could be saying, hey, you know what? We might need to go get Fields here at 4 if he's there at 4. Ryan?
I look at it more of like due diligence. It's like the Ryan Pace effect, who took Trubisky over Deshaun Watson as well as, Mahomes. You got to go out there and see what's available. Now, there's going to be a lot of guys jumping up here team-wise. They're going to I think we can all agree if Atlanta stays here, it'd be somewhat of a shocker. I see teams jumping up. These comments are great. I see teams jumping up and going after it. So I think they're looking at what is it that these guys are looking for. Smoke screen, somewhat. I think that there's some interest there. I think they need to start looking to the future. Matt Ryan's, I don't know how many more miles he has left in those legs and that arm. And they're not really a great team right now, so why not start rebuilding? I would have that kind of mindset, but I think it's kind of a little bit of half and half.
Okay. Brant, is it time to pull the trigger on Matt Ryan?
For me, I'm going to say yes, just because with Matt Ryan as a quarterback, and he's a really good quarterback, how often are you going to find yourself in the top 4 of the draft, right? So it's not often. I mean, the Falcons typically would finish between a 10 to 15, so you'd have to really trade up to give up some good equity to get up there. I think just like Ryan said, doing due diligence, making sure that if he is there and there is no offer, I mean, you've got to pull the trigger on the future. If you think he's the guy, you take him. Like Kyle Pitts would be a great pick. Dropping back would be great. Like I think their ideal selection is trading back 4 or 5 picks and then still getting somebody. But as an NFL team, if you find yourself in a spot where you don't have to trade a bunch of picks, a bunch of talent, and you have a shot at a possibly franchise-altering quarterback, you got to take it.
Right. For me personally, man, I think Atlanta has all the cards in the deck right now. I think it's a brilliant move by them announcing this. I think it is a smokescreen. I really do think that they're going to stick with Matt Ryan. You got to have a conversation with your quarterback, right? I mean, we had it. You have to have this conversation. Hey, how many more years do you think you could do this? How long can you do this? I think you still have it, but we still need to give you an offensive line to protect you because you were pressured a lot last year. I mean, Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley had a breakout year. Julio had injuries, and you still were able to produce the way you're produced. I would be a little bit happy with Matt Ryan's production last year with the in-depth running game with Todd Gurley, who somehow just is still in the NFL and can't produce anymore because of his nagging injuries, his chronic arthritis in his knee. You have no running game, and you're still able to produce good numbers, right? And so with that being said, I need to protect you. So why not go offensive tackle? Why not fix my defense? Why not get Kyle Pitts, like you said, Brant? You can line them up anywhere and make this offense a juggernaut. There's so many things that they could do in Atlanta that they could just trade back and attain those picks and get more help to fix this team. But can Matt Ryan stay more than 2 years, more than 3 years to see those picks accumulate and beat this team better? I think it's a smokescreen, Alex. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, if it was me personally, I'm taking Fields if I'm Atlanta. But I think that they're not. I think they think they're set at Ryan. You look at his numbers.
Let me ask you something real quick. Let me ask you. What if it's a different quarterback? Let's say
if Fields is not there, right. I think Fields is the last great quarterback in this draft. I think Mac Jones is going to be a bust. I think Trey Lance is going to be a bust. All these guys that are riding high on the – I think these guys are not NFL-ready quarterbacks, and I don't think that they ever will be.
Okay.
Mac Jones runs like he's got cinder blocks on his feet, like he got dumped in the river by the mafia back in the day. Trey Lance doesn't know how to go past this first read. He has happy feet. He's Lamar Jackson without the talent, in my opinion. So I'm not sold on either one of those guys. So if you're not in the Zach Wilson, who I still think is a question mark, but if you're not in the Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Fields sweepstakes, you don't want a quarterback in this draft. In my opinion, if you're drafting in the top 5, don't take anybody but one of those 3. So if Fields is gone, then you trade this pick because Kyle Pitts does not answer every need that they have. He does not immediately make them better. He's not worth a win. He's worth half a win share. Like, is that really worth it? To take a tight end that high, number 4, pay him top 4 money at a tight end position? It doesn't. I understand he's more a wide receiver than a tight end, but you're going to have him play the tight end position. So he's going to need to block and everything that comes with that position, and I just don't see that from him. So at 4, it's too much. You can get him at 8, that's a great pick, right? But at 4, I think it's too high. And I know he's generational and all that and, his measurables, but in my opinion, you don't take a wide receiver in a tight end position at 4. That's my personal opinion, right? Their best bet would be to take Sewell. But from everything I'm hearing, they're not going to take Sewell. So trade out of this spot. Get out of here. I think it's a smokescreen 100%. And don't be surprised if New England trades up to 4 and takes Fields, if he's available. Don't be surprised at all. Because New England has a team to make a run this year. They added a lot of talent, and Cam Newton is not going to do it for him. You saw what he did last year. So,
all right, I agree. All right, we're gonna move on here. So I don't know if you guys catch the video or not of Julian Edelman announcing his retirement. It was probably one of the coolest things I've seen as an announcement for a retirement. Went through all his big time plays and all that. But obviously, Julian Edelman has now retired due to a career-threatening injury that he suffered in his knee last year. The debate's been, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know why there's a debate. I'm going to start us off right now. I am a huge Julian Edelman fan. I love Julian Edelman. I followed his story. I followed, him, working his way from a special teams player to being one of the greatest slot receivers of all time. One of the most clutch performers I have ever seen in the playoffs. With all that being said, no All-Pros, no Pro Bowls, never considered to be a top 5 receiver ever in the history of his career. Never hasn't attained more than 50 touchdowns. He's at 36. Never has been over 10,000 yards receiving. He's at, I want to say 6,000, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he's never had over 1,000 catches. It's getting to a point, guys. It's getting what?
You mean 100 catches?
No,
you said 1,000.
I'm sorry.
Total? Or are you talking about 100
total,
in a year?
Yeah, total. And he's never, for me, guys, Torrey Holt is still waiting. And Hines Ward.
There's a list of wide receivers, man.
There's so many. So for me, I love Julian Edelman as the player, his work ethic. He will always go down in my mind as one of the greatest plays ever against the Atlanta Falcons when he caught that ball, a double coverage off the ground and barely hit the ground to get the Patriots a first down in that drive. I'll never forget that play. He was a Super Bowl MVP against the Rams. But we got to stop being this generation where everyone should be in the Hall of Fame. The NBA does that. Yao Ming is in the Hall of Fame. I just want you guys to know that. Go look at Yao Ming's numbers and then come back and talk to me.
See, Yao Ming's different, though. Come on.
I don't care.
He was the benchmark for a Chinese basketball player.
That's great. Go to Chinese Basketball Hall of Fame. Go to Chinese Basketball Hall of Fame.
He was a generational talent, and he just couldn't stay healthy. I mean,
look at his numbers.
It's a Greg Oden effect, right? Like, Greg Oden could have been amazing, but he couldn't stay healthy. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like,
yeah. Ryan, talk to me.
Yeah, the answer is no. Is he a Hall of Famer? No. But, you got to give the guy his respect. There's no doubt that he played more games in the playoffs than most teams probably have in the NFL. And there's a reason why he's number 2 all time in the playoff reception area, or in the playoffs in yards. Good for him. He's Mr. Clutch. He made the big plays. The big knocks against him, there's no doubt he doesn't meet the volume stats that we're all looking for when it comes to being a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver, or if we want to even scale it down a little bit, a slot wide receiver, which, even brings it doesn't bring everybody in. You have a smaller pool to kind of look at. And you're talking about a team that with 7 minutes left in the game wasn't throwing the ball. He turned into a blocker. So it's hard to knock him there. I give him his due, his due diligence. I give him his credit, but I'm in the same boat as Drew. I'm tired of just everybody getting the crown of, oh, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He was a system guy that was very fortunate to have guys by the name of Belichick and Brady that were in his side. Best quarterback of all time was throwing the ball to him. You're going to have a pretty decent career. Nod to him. Hell of a career. Not in my Hall of Fame.
Yep. Brant?
No, I did some researching before we started this, right? His catches, he is 75th in catches in NFL history. For yards, he is outside the top 150. For touchdowns, he is outside the top 250. To me, that's not Hall of Fame. Like, he's really good. I enjoyed watching him play. One of the best stories. Like, he came in, he dominated with Brady. Like, he was really good. He just had some unfortunate injuries, and the stats aren't there to back it up. It's not the Hall of Very Good. It's not the Hall of Fan Favorite. It is the Hall of Fame, and unfortunately, for me, he's not there. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Julian Edelman. I think he was a great player. Slot guys aren't typically going to get the biggest yards, but for me, he's outside.
Yeah, I agree, man. And when you said the Hall of Very Good, I would put him in the Hall of Very Good just on his postseason stats alone. I mean, that's worthy enough for me to put in the Hall of Very Good. And his catch rate, I think it's up in the top 10, Brant. Alex.
Yeah, listen,
we are listening.
If we're going by just his playoff numbers, then he's on the edge of being a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
But when you look at the whole body of work, and it's a feel-good story, right? He came from Kent State, which is in Ohio college, a small D1 college in Ohio, right? Yeah, he came in as a quarterback, right? And then switched to slot receiver because he knew he couldn't. Obviously, he's too short to make it as a quarterback. Well, he didn't have the skill set that Kyler Murray and some of these guys have. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good story. It's a feel-good story. I'm happy for the guy. I felt really bad watching him tear up, talking about retirement, and play until the wheels fell off, and then the wheels finally fell off is what he said. I felt that. You know what I mean? Because at some point in time, all of us that played football or, even at the college level, the wheels fall off. You're done. You can't play no more. So he got to live the dream for, 7 extra years. And it's probably tragic. It's the most traumatic thing that's probably ever happened to him. So I feel bad for him. It's a feel-good story, but he's not in my Hall of Fame either. And not knocking him because not everybody's supposed to get in. He's still a great player. He still had great moments that we'll remember, but he doesn't have the stats to back up, the mantle of a Hall of Famer.
Also, I don't know if Brant or Ryan or you could check, but I think it took him a couple of years just even getting the starting lineup. 5
years.
Yeah, it took him 5 years because who was in front of him?
Mr. Wes Welker.
Yeah.
So you're not going to start over him. It's not happening. Not until Wes got like his 15th concussion. So, I mean, it is what it is, dude. He was just in the, like Brant said, he was in a perfect system because Brady loved those slot receivers. But real quick, Wes Walker or Julian Edelman, who do you guys picking?
Oh, Wes Welker all day. I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Wayne Corbett.
Jesus.
Hey, by the way, that's not a lie. My number one, I got 1A, Wayne Corbett, 1B, Wes Welker. No doubt about it in my mind.
For slot, that's your 1A and 1B.
For slot.
Yeah.
I was a big Wayne Corbett guy. Charlie Joyner created the slot position. Wayne Corbett perfected it. He had 580 catches in his career. 380 of them were from third to first down catches. I mean, that is the definition of what the slot receiver is supposed to do. That's impressive. That's impressive to me. So that's why I say 1A, 1B, but no doubt Wes Welker over Julian Edelman.
Yeah. So are we all in agreement that Larry Fitzgerald won't go down as a slot receiver?
Oh yeah, he's the number one.
Okay.
Come on, man.
That was one of the topics trending in Twitter. I just want to make sure.
Sure, but I mean, people that brought that up are like,
Walker,
19
I agree.
years old. They don't understand what Larry was.
I do want to say though, when it comes down to Super Bowl third down throws, I take Edelman over Welker. Welker did miss 2 balls
in the Super Bowl, maybe.
I'm just saying. All right, let's get on, guys. Yeah, we're skipping that. I'm not doing that. Second down, buy or sell. I'll tell you guys about that later. Newly signed running back James Conner will be a top 15 running back with the Arizona Cardinals in 2021. You could take. We're not doing fantasy. This is going to be reality. Alex, are you buying or selling on this?
So I want to buy. I mean, because I think James Conner is very talented, and I think that he has the potential that he could be. But Chase Edmonds being there really, it worries me as far as touches, numbers-wise. And to be honest with you, Chase Edmonds might be the better running back. I don't think we have enough film or reps for Chase Edmonds as a feature back to tell me that he's not better than James Conner. I don't know. So while I want to buy, I'm going to sell because of Chase Edmonds being there.
Okay, Brant.
I'm going to buy him as a top 15 running back. Edmonds, he gets dinged up real easy, even last year. And I think they were Kenyon Drake leaving and then them replacing him with Conner was definitely interesting because I think Kenyon Drake's got a lot more of explosive ability. Conner is going to be more of that pound it. But I think he's going to vulture a lot of goal line scores that Drake was giving up to Edmonds last year. Edmonds, I see being more that third down back. I see James Conner being more the first 2 downs and adding in some catches here and there.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, I love the sign. I thought the signing was absolutely amazing by Arizona. A little bit of underrated signing under the radar. He's the 1-2 punch that will help Chase Edmonds a lot. The good thing about James Conner, I see a lot of a LeGarrette Blount in the goal line, but a little bit more of a LeGarrette Blount because he's more versatile. He can catch the ball. He's a double threat. But for me, Kenyon Drake was the biggest disappointment, arguably, in fantasy football last year, and in reality, he just didn't perform well at all as being the lead back. Ryan, I mean, this seems to me like another good signing by Arizona in the offseason, especially for Kyle Murray.
I like Alex's face when you asked that question. Oh, I'll tell you this. They needed a bigger guy. I mean, Chase Edmonds, a lot of guys don't know. He's only 5'9". He's not a big dude. He can't run between the tackles so well. He actually, and I take that back, actually. He ran between the tackles pretty well, but at 5'9", 210 pounds, there's only so many licks you can take. His biggest thing is going to be staying healthy. As a top 15, I'm not buying him. I don't think that this team has the running capability to put a running back in the top 15. Kenyon Drake had an amazing season when he came over from Miami, but a lot of that work was done in the air. And I think Chase Edmonds is going to get a lot of that work. So from a team that has made some big signings, but maybe playing from behind or in really close games, I think that they're going to put the ball in their best player on offense's hand, that Kyler, as opposed to DeAndre, obviously not referring to him. They're going to put the ball in Kyler's hands, and I think he's going to be throwing the ball a lot more than running the ball in Arizona for sure.
Definitely. All right, my guys. We get what do you want?
One last tidbit on Chase Edmonds. He had 53 receptions for 400 yards, and he had 67 targets. So that's going to take Conner off the field quite a bit.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. That's a good call. Great, good, okay, or bad. Eddie George would be the next head coach of the Tennessee State football program, Brant.
Yes.
Great, good, okay, or bad. I know I'm reading right. I know you're not dyslexic, so tell me which one you picking.
I think it's good. I gotta wait to see if it's gonna be great, but name recognition for college programs is everything. There's a reason why UNC just hired an alum and Hubert Davis to coach their basketball team. You need that name recognition to get the talent. I know when Deion Sanders went down to Jackson State, I believe, that brought a lot of players that could play D1 decided to go there and play for him. I think you could see something similar at Tennessee State with Eddie George.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. Did you say good?
I said good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to say good too. I know I don't know about his past as a coach. Maybe you guys do. I'm not really that big of a follower of college football as you three are. But for me, I mean, just from the standpoint of him being a former pro, and Jeff Fisher went on the line. I remember a couple years ago saying how smart and how his IQ of Eddie George was by far one of the best he's ever coached. But that says a lot because of Jeff Fisher. But that's another topic for another day. But for me, I like it. And Alex, I know you could agree to it because it is a name. And I know he's made it. So kids are going to be attached to the Deion Sanders and the Eddie Georges now that, hey, how can I make it? You made it. So show me what I need to do to make it to the next step to become one of those players like you where I can make it to the NFL. You know, that's transversal. That's huge for a lot of recruits that, you know, that don't get that opportunity. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, listen, Eddie George being a Buckeye, obviously, you know, I'm a big fan of him for what he did at Ohio State. I'm very excited to see. I think it's exciting for kids that go to HBCUs, right? Historically Black college, right? I think it's great. You know, Deion Sanders and him are now making it a little more difficult for some of these blue blood programs like Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson and stuff like that to get some 5-star recruits because there are guys that are going to go to these programs simply because of these guys being the head coach. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good. Anything that makes college football they're more parity in it and make things more exciting to watch, I'm all for. I think he's very intelligent from everything I've heard. You know, he did his time as an assistant coach. He's going to a smaller university. So it's not like he's taking over Ohio State or Alabama or a big program. So he's going to be able to grow and cut his teeth as a head coach in a program that's going to be more forgiving if he goes 4-7 his first year or 5-6, you know. He's going to get a chance to really put in his program, recruit really well. Who wouldn't want Eddie George to come to their house and recruit them, right? I mean, I think they got a competitive advantage recruiting-wise. So I'm excited. I think it's a great hire. I think it makes college football more fun.
Hey, Alex, can you tell the audience and tell us where was he the assistant coach at?
He was the assistant. God, I gotta look it up.
You don't know? Okay, I got my notes up your head.
No,
let me know. I want to know who it is. Ryan, can you tell me? Will this improve Tennessee State by a lot? And obviously, I want to know the great, good, okay, or bad.
Bad and no. I understand name recognition. I understand where everybody's coming from, but the reality is I saw this thing pop up and I said, Eddie George is in coaching. I'm gonna go check that out. Where's he been? Nowhere. He hasn't been in football since 2004. Like, what are we doing here? Is this literally
Alex
the last?
He's an assistant coach.
I don't see it. If it's somewhere, I'm on his Wikipedia page right now just because I had to double check. I don't see it. There's no, unless he deleted off his own wiki. The reality is like, hey, good for Tennessee State, but this would probably be the only reason on this podcast or any podcast or even the ESPN that we'd be talking about Tennessee State. They're a very bad team. They're in the Ohio Valley conference that, frankly, I'd never even really heard of. Good for them. Terrible. There was a lot of head coaches that probably could have taken this job that have the experience that were probably worthy of the position, but they gave it to a guy because he was the rookie of the year at one point in the NFL. I got bad. I don't think they're going to win extra games. I think that coaching takes a big sense, and there's guys that are really good players and are not good coaches, and it goes vice versa. But I didn't. I couldn't find anything.
What I do want to say is bad, and it is really bad, is the Dallas Cowboys embarrassing themselves on Twitter today with Eddie George. So I'm going to go ahead and read this tweet to you. It said, while the Dallas Cowboys are never short on current superstars, their legacy was built on legends. Eddie James becomes the most recent legend to join a collegiate staff as a head coach.
Oh my God.
Eddie James, 1. 2, a legend in the Dallas Cowboys? Come on.
He played there 1 year, right? The end of his career, his last
At
season.
the end of his career, like
That's so bad. Somebody got fired today. Somebody got fired today.
Cowboy ever.
Chuck-
Like, that's come on.
Terrible.
Eddie James. You can't even get the dude's name right. And oh my goodness.
Chuck
that's
Thomas.
the guy I was talking about. There was
Hold
an
on.
assistant coach cutting his teeth. That was the guy,
Oh, okay.
Eddie James.
Chuck Thomas with the comment of the day. Improves black coaches getting opportunities. I agree with that. I hope that does happen. I hope it does open the door for more black coaches to get a potential head coach job in college and in the NFL. Let's.
Only thing I gotta say is Deion
Don't let
Sanders.
the interns use a Twitter account.
Oh God, it's so bad.
Only thing I gotta say is Deion Sanders and Eddie George went to prolific D1 schools. So take it for what it is, right? They got to where they were because they went to big schools.
How did Jackson State finish?
I didn't look at that, but I don't think it was good. I think they won their first game, and I don't know if they won a game after that.
Oh, really?
By the way, can we comment on how Eddie George literally hasn't aged a day from the day he left the NFL? I looked up his picture. I'm like, oh my God, this guy literally looks like the same human being that came out of Ohio State. It's insane.
No.
Black don't crack, man. Never heard that saying? That's the truth.
It is true. It is true.
Yes, so.
I guess Clinton hasn't aged a day. Ridiculous.
Right.
He's still 5'3". Okay. All right, guys. Let's get into we got 2 more.
Oh no, they won. They went 4-7.
Okay. Running back Gio Bernard. Running back Gio Bernard, former Cincinnati Bengal that was released. Was it a bad move for him to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Once again, the Buccaneers are still winning this offseason. A report came out yesterday that James White was decided between the Bucs and the Patriots. He ended up going to the Patriots, which I had no idea to understand why. If he was going to get the third down slot, the third down running back position as he did in New England with Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, why go back to New England? I don't know. But guys, was this a bad move by Gio Bernard, Ryan?
No, it's the best move he could get, man. This guy's at the end of his career. He got paid well in Cincinnati. There's no doubt about it. But he played in maybe 1 or 2 meaning games in his career there. He's ready to start winning. And if there's an opportunity to go somewhere, he's going to go there. He could have gotten more money from a different team, and I don't think he would have taken it. I think he's at the career where he's saying, all right, my big goal here is to win a ring, which is why on vice versa, when I look at James, I bet you James White got more money to go back to the Patriots. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Definitely.
He already has his rings.
Overpaid everybody.
I mean,
he got more
that's
money.
perspective. Overpaying is perspective. So
Donald Hill, one of the hosts of the 3-Man Weave group. I love that group. Now they can use their fame to gain more attention to HBCUs, so they could gain the resources to really compete. I definitely agree with you 1,000%, Donald. I definitely agree with you 1,000%. James White 0.0, Gio Bernard, and no, another weapon. So Chuck agrees with you, Ryan. It's another weapon. I agree as well. I think this is a great weapon for Tampa Bay. I think it's the Vaughn experiment isn't working, Alex. The guy they drafted last year, I believe, the running back Vaughn for Tampa Bay. It wasn't working out. That's why they brought up McCoy. McCoy, obviously, he needs to retire. He's done. So that gives them a solid third option after Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. They have their running back. They have the guy who can catch the ball out of the outside, even though I think Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette has improved in their receiving game under Tom Brady, but that's just what Tom Brady does. He makes people better. But I like the signing a lot, Alex. Where do you think this goes for Gio? And Gio did say that there was other teams offering him money to be the number 2. He is going to be the number 3 behind with the Bucs. Was this the right move?
I don't think it's a bad move, but I just think it's an embarrassment of riches at this point, in Tampa Bay. They have, on every offensive position, 3 deep on like every position, as far as wide receiver, tight end, now running back, right? So, yeah, it's the right move for him because he's towards the end of his career. Maybe he's going to catch a ring this year because I really think Tampa's if not the favorite, they should be the favorite to repeat. They brought the whole team back, and now they have the confidence and the swagger of we just won a ring. Who's going to beat us, right? That has an effect, right? Confidence is a huge thing, especially when you're at that level. So, yeah, I mean, it's the right move for him. I don't know necessarily that it really helps the Bucks per se, right? How much is he going to really get?
He's a good insurance policy to have.
No, for sure. But I think Ronald Jones should be the third down back. I think he is marketably improved in the receiving game. And granted, it's probably an effect of Tom Brady. Tom Brady effect for sure.
Oh, easily.
But it's like I said, embarrassment of riches. I don't think they need him, and I don't know that he adds a lot. But maybe Ronald Jones goes down, which he's been known to do, and then Gio's right there, and you can use him only in the third down position, and that's great luxury to have.
So is Fournette.
Yeah,
they're both known to get hurt. I mean, we saw it.
Yeah.
Brant,
am I the only one that doesn't like this move? Seriously, like he's gonna take playing time away from two better running backs, either Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette. Both of those guys are better than Gio Bernard is. Looking at, doing some research pre-show of this, the one team that kept popping up in regards to Gio Bernard was the Chiefs. That would have made a hell of a lot more sense. Like, because they're ring hunting and you get to play because they lost Damian Williams. They're going to have someone needs to do the third down back behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Le'Veon Bell didn't work.
Nope. But Bell's done. We can go ahead and announce that. But
what an idiot.
It doesn't, you want your third running back to be someone that can participate on the kickoff, the punt teams, have a little flexibility. And Gio Bernard at this stage of his career, he's, more towards the end than the front. I don't see him being that guy. I mean, yeah, he could. LaShawn McCoy last year, for the Bucks, it doesn't really move the needle, right? Like, we already know that they're favorites to run it back. But going to the Chiefs, somewhere where you'd be able to get a little bit more playing time and you'd be able to ring chase, would have made more sense to me. I could even see him possibly not making the roster this year just because who's going to keep a guy not playing special teams, as a depth running back on their team?
I will say this to interject. If you read between the lines, this feels like a Tom Brady request. Now, all these names that we've talked about, there's no doubt about it that there's more talent when it comes to running the ball, and frankly, they're better running backs. But what they're very, very bad at, every name that we've listed so far, is pass blocking. And Gio Bernard, when it comes to the running back position, is one of the better pass blockers in the NFL. So I think what's happening is you have a guy like Tom Brady who's saying, I need somebody in this backfield that's going to help protect me because in order to win more games, that's what we got to do. And Gio's very good at that. All those three guys, from Vaughn to Fournette and Jones, they're not good at that. They're bad at that. And that's where I come from it, personally.
No, that makes sense. I mean, but like I said from the beginning, dude, they obviously, if they keep adding these running backs, there's obviously something wrong with the third guy with Vaughn. I mean, we got my boy Chuck here is saying, well, Vaughn was hurt. Well, it doesn't matter. You're still adding McCoy. You're adding these other cats to the running back position because he doesn't fit the mold as that third down back in case they need Gio to do some HB screens or HB toss or HB outs. It doesn't matter. He could do that. We saw with him when he came in with Mixon. He was able to be serviceable. So, I mean, that plays a factor. 17 games plays a factor, man. Guys, last one. 5 quarterbacks will be drafted in this upcoming draft. Yes or no? In the top 10, sorry. In the top 10. Yes or no? Alex?
No.
Sorry, we're boring you, Alex.
Sorry, no.
No?
They're not worthy, so no.
Okay. Brant?
No. Top 15, maybe. Not top 10.
Brian?
No, but I say we get very close. 4 go in the top 5 for sure, in my opinion, and then one's going to slip out. Yeah, there's going to
we
be
could
movement.
get 5 if there's a bunch of trading, but as
there's going to be a bunch of trading.
As it's constituted right now, there's not.
I would have said yes had the Panthers not traded for Sam Darnold. I think that, to me, pushes the 5th one out of the top 10.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Because I think they were Trey Lance all day until they got Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the biggest issue is next year, the draft, when it comes to the quarterback position. I think a lot of teams are going to miss out on this because next year looks pretty bleak.
Yes.
Yep, agree.
So
Sam Ehlinger, if Ehlinger could have stayed one more year, I think he's a first-round pick next year because the talent is lacking.
Sure. I don't agree.
Right,
I agree there.
All right, boys, let's get into it. Third down. It's our mock draft, 23 from 32. Let's recap real quick of what we got. Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence. Number 2 was the Jets getting Zach Wilson. Number 3 was the 49ers going with Justin Fields. Falcons got Pitts. Bengals got Chase. Dolphins got Sewell. The Lions got Waddle. Panthers got Slater. Broncos got Parsons. Cowboys got Surtain. Giants ended up with Horn. The Eagles went with Devante Smith. The Chargers got Darisaw. Vikings got AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker. Patriots got quarterback Trey Lance, which would be the rags or riches pretty much. Arizona Cardinals got Christian Barrymore. Raiders got linebacker J.O.K. Dolphins got Kwity Payne. Washington's got Tevin Jenkins. Bears got Mac Jones, which is hilarious in itself. And Colts got edge Jason Owa. And Titans finished it up last week with our last pick, which was safety Trevin Morg, which I think is the most value pick so far that we've done. Now, we got the Jets coming in at number 23. Brant, since you were gone last week.
Y'all needed me last week. Man.
How about you start us off with the pick and why they already got their quarterback of the future with Zach Wilson? What's going to be pick number 23 for the Jets?
They're going defense. I think they're going to go cornerback. I have Caleb Farley going there. I think their starting corners are Bryce Hall and some guy I've never heard of. And I can't pronounce his name. They are lacking in talent right now in the defensive backfield. So I think Caleb Farley, who is the 3rd best cornerback in this draft, is going to the Jets 23.
Okay. Alex.
I got the same. I don't need to add anything. The corner is one of their biggest needs. And I thought Farley would probably go before this, but the way our draft is falling out, it makes the most sense for them.
Ryan.
I'll jump on board with that. I like when we can all agree on things. The Farley pick from VTech's fantastic. If they were to stray away with that and stick with the offense, I think that an interior offensive lineman would be a good pick. Creed Humphrey still out there from Oklahoma. He's the 2nd best rated guy outside of VGT. And he would be a good pick, but I like it. I think defense is going to be a strong suit for them.
You guys just hit it out of the park for me. Halo Farley, my pick as well. To drop that far down and to get potentially a top 10 corner that was being, talked about so much until that back surgery, guys. That's when stock started to drop. But I'm with Brant, I'm with Alex, and I'm with Ron. I'm with the game-winning drive crew. Got to go with Caleb Farley. It helps their defense immensely, and hopefully he's healthy starting the season. But those are 2 solid picks by the New York Jets in the first round. Pittsburgh Steelers, Alex, what are they going? Are they going running back?
No, I can't. Honestly, I think they trade out of this pick. I don't think they take a running back at this point. God, it's tough for me. Who I think they're going to take. I think they need a tackle, right? To be honest with you, I think that's a huge need for them. And I'm probably going to be off the board here for everybody else. Because Jenkins is gone, right? We did get rid of Jenkins, right?
Yes.
Already.
Yep.
The next guy I got is the kid out of North Dakota State, Dylan Radunz, I think is his name. He's probably a nobody's board at this point, but if they stay in this spot, they need a tackle. They don't have a tackle that grades out at this spot in the draft. He's more of a second-round talent. I got him going around 45 to 47, but it's a need for them, is tackle. So he's who I would take, even though I'm sure if they do stay here, that's probably not the pick they take. But that's what their need, right?
Sure. Ryan.
It's tough for me. The Steelers, I want to see Najee based on the way this draft is gone. Connor just left. They need a running back. They love a guy that can go for all 3 downs. They love to have a workhorse. Right now they have Benny Snell. I don't see them as being that guy. So I will jump on the board with saying Najee Harris. First running back going.
Listen, I'm going to pull it Alex and say, listen, you got to go back here. Najee Harris is the best pick right here for them. They need it. They need a workout. They need a guy that can be versatile. They need a guy that can do everything in the back and on the backside as a running back, pass protection, can catch, be a dual threat, can run in between the tackles, can run outside the tackles. I think Najee Harris is a great value pick at number at 24 overall. I'm going Najee Harris.
I agree completely. That's who I have. I had him going because, like you said, they have that need. Najee Harris makes sense there.
How do you spell Najee?
N-A-J-E.
One at a time.
E.E. Harris.
Thank you.
There you go.
Different first.
Yeah, he's definitely the best back though. I don't see ETN being the best back in this class. I see him being third.
Austin Trammell. Sorry not to cut you off, Brant. My bad. Caleb Farley over Greg Newsome, guys.
You put together the worst mock draft I've ever seen. You sit down in the corner until someone calls on you.
Oh, man. If someone of note falls to Carolina, I don't think Darnold precludes them from doing it. And I like Darnold. Quarterback.
Wow.
Raiders going. They said that they're going to go for a quarterback if it interests them, but I think that'll be a stupid move. Raiders going after quarterback next year. Carr has 2 more years on his contract. They will move on from him. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, John. Picking Farley thanks to the Adams trade. Yep. First round running backs are waste. Pass it on.
Agreed. I don't disagree.
Edney will have big plays. Warwick Dunn 2.0. Steelers are very high on Najee Harris.
I don't like that pick.
Oh. Okay. Ryan, Jaguars. Who are they going?
Yeah, man, it's funny because this is a guy that I brought up last week when we were talking about it. So going offensive tackle here. Need somebody to help take care of their quarterback. Big on Alex Leatherwood, man. This guy's got a wrestling background. I know he's not on a lot of guys' boards, but I think he's somebody that has been a 2-year starter. He has all the accolades. He got a lot of awards at his position. I say Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama, offensive tackle.
I like it, but then again, I don't. So what I'm looking at, Ryan, is I agree with you, offensive tackle. I would get an offensive tackle to pair up with Trevor Lawrence to protect his blind side. I'm 1,000% with you on that. The thing with me is I'm looking at someone else, and I've been hearing big name. I'm hearing big things about him. I heard his draft stock is moving up. I got to go with Liam Inchberg from Notre Dame. I like his skill set. I like that he could fit. I think old boy's name, Alex's favorite college coach, Urban Meyer. I think Urban Meyer, being freshly from college, I think he can help him translate better in the offensive line position. I think it would help him a lot. I think he'll fit that system very well. I think him and Lawrence could build a quick relationship, being in that same age group and coming from the same college. I like Liam Inchberg right there, Brant. What do you got?
I definitely venturing away from you guys because, the Jags went ahead and got Trevor Lawrence, obviously, with their first pick, right? So for me, at 25, I was actually giving him a target, and I'm putting Kadarius Toney there. just because they've got some good outside presence. But I think adding a slot guy like Tony, you give him, a guy that comes in the same draft. It's worked with the Ravens when they did it with Marquise Brown and Lamar Jackson. Like, you give them young guys to work with, and it's a little bit more fun. It's a sexy pick. I think they'll hit defense in the second round. So, but the sexy pick here, it's a luxury, right? Like, you've got an extra first round pick, use it on something splashy.
So you got Tony over Rashad Bateman?
Only because I'm going pure slot here. I think Bateman's got some outside. The fact that he ran
Bateman's a good slot.
See, I do, but for me, slot, I'm thinking like under 5'10", more shifty. Bateman's a little taller. I mean, he's fast, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't play as fast on film as he ran the 4.39 40. He doesn't play that fast, but he separates good. I see him more as an outside receiver, and not so much in the slot, but I like Tony a lot. So I'll probably be on the outside on this one.
Alex, make some sense of this, man. Where are we going?
Bateman.
Bateman.
You know what?
Alex, two wide receivers. So
listen, the slot.
I'll change my pick to Bateman.
I have Bateman going around 25 to 26, right? And obviously the Browns aren't going to take him. So, I mean, I think he makes the most sense. I think he's going to be a great slot, and he fits their need at this point because they're going to have to win games by offense. They're going to have to outscore everybody to win games.
I agree. So Rashad Bateman will be the pick for the Jaguars and game-winning drive crew at number 25. Coming at number 26, we're gonna save Alex for last because it's his team, the Cleveland Browns.
What kind of shit is that?
It's my shit. Welcome to it. Brant, what are the Browns doing?
For me, I have them going back to defense. I initially had an edge rusher because that's where they were trending, and of course with Clowney signing, I had to pivot. Exactly. I'm actually going linebacker with Zavin Collins. I like him a lot. He's got some good speed. You probably wanted Jamin Davis, didn't you? That's probably who you had. But no, Zavin Collins is who I think it is. 6'5", 260. Like, it's a man. As a big dude, he runs well. He can cover. He can rush the passer. He does a little bit of everything well.
Okay. Ryan, on my thing, it says, well, not edge, but it says wide receiver, corner, linebacker, and interior offensive lineman for what the Browns needs. Alex is shaking his head. He wants linebacker. He's been saying linebacker for the last 3 weeks.
We've addressed every other need.
Ryan,
only thing left is linebacker.
Where we go? Where's the Browns going if you're the GM?
It's tough for me because I want to go linebacker as well, but in the first round, it's about taking who's available, and I think that there's an interior offensive lineman in the name of Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State. This guy can literally do it all. He could be one of the top interior offensive linemen in the NFL in the future. His run block grades are top 5, passing block grades are top 10. It's a good, solid play. I don't know why any of us talk when we're talking about the Browns. Smartest guy ever. Go ahead. Talk about a quarterback or some shit.
Alex, go ahead, bro. Make the pick.
No, listen, I love the pick.
Ryan is right. Ryan is right.
I love the pick, obviously, because he's an Ohio State guy. He's an underrated offensive lineman. But we had the number 1 rated offensive line last year. I don't need an offensive lineman. I need linebackers. Our weakness is linebackers. It's the truth. I mean,
you should have signed some because this is not a linebacker draft.
Oh, I agree with you. Listen, the grades don't bear out. I understand where you're coming from, right? But, this is a guy that we could get in the second or third round. Why would we take him in the first? Right? That's my only thing. I understand where you're coming from. It's a great pick any other year for the Browns. Just not coming off one of the highest rated offensive lines in the last 3 years and the number 1 rated last year. It's just not a good pick for us in this spot is the only thing, right? When we have a huge glaring need, I was going to go Nick Bolton, to be honest with you, that's who I really liked from the beginning of this. But I don't think anybody else is going to go Bolton. So I'm going to go Zavin Collins so we can actually get the right pick of the right position at this spot. So I'm going to say Zavin Collins.
Donald Hill said, whoa. Linebacker is solid in this draft, y'all. Micah Parsons makes it a lot solid, but
Micah Parsons brings up everybody's great a lot, but after that,
I don't know about this
Tulsa
one. OBJ, Jarvis Landry, and Higgins. I don't think they need a receiver. I mean, I know OBJ just tore his ACL, but I mean, it's not like a career-threatening injury like an Achilles.
And it's not like Baker can throw the ball anyway, so what does that matter? Come on.
Yeah, they need to run that ball.
Daniel Barkley, Jabril Cox could be had in the second.
Man, I love Jabril Cox. Dude played small in Dakota last year, transferred down to LSU, killed it. He was, when I was doing my draft prep last year before he decided not to go, Jabril Cox to me was the third round player.
Listen, I think they take a linebacker in probably the first 3 rounds. To be honest, I mean, it's going to be, death. We're going to get the right guy by picking 3 guys, and one of those guys will work out. Like, that's just how I feel. I mean, they've addressed every other need this year in the offseason is set for linebacker. And for what reason, I don't know, because there were some good ones out there.
So we all decided. So Zavin Collins, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. He's the highest rated linebacker left right now.
6'5", 260, can move, cover. That dude is a big dude.
I like the linebackers this year. Honestly,
I think Bolton is smoother. That's my only Collins loses a little bit athleticism because of his size.
I'm just throwing it out there to see Alex's reaction.
So, John,
love John.
I like 3, maybe 4 linebackers in this draft, and that's about it.
Well, in the first round, right? Or are you just talking about in the draft in general?
In going to the first round and a half, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
There's some serviceable linebackers.
I think Jabril Cox is an absolute steal in the second round, and that's where he's going to end up. I think he's a steal. He's performed at every level he's been at. I just think that there's not enough tape against D1 talent for him to get the grade that he truly deserves.
Okay. All right, guys. The Baltimore Ravens are up at number 27. They are, according to what I'm looking at, they need a safety, a receiver, offensive tackle, and an edge. I don't know why they need an edge. I'm not looking that way at all.
They just lost Matt Judon, and
I was just gonna say because Judon just left. That's a big hole, man.
That is true. They did lose Judon,
and Yannick Ngakwe left too.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, make the pick.
I'm going a guy that not a lot of people are going to have probably at this spot, but I'm going to go Terence Marshall. They need a true number one. Receiver out of LSU. He didn't get as much. He didn't get as much love because of Jamar Chase and guys like that. This draft day we talk about quarterbacks, but it's loaded at wide receiver. There's talent all the way to the 3rd round at wide receiver in this draft. Elijah Moore would probably be the most logical pick for wide receiver. He's just 5'9", and you already have Hollywood Brown there who fills the same role. I think you need a guy that's 6'3", that's a true number 1 build, can win jump balls and get separation. And if they don't go wide receiver here, I mean, Lamar Jackson might be the next Russell Wilson asking for a trade. I mean, they got to give this guy some help on the outside.
Ravens have not had a player finish with double-digit sacks since Terrell Suggs in 2017.
Yep.
Wow.
Correct.
That is insane. To speak on that real quick, Alex, we talked about it last week with the Eagles pick with Devante Smith. They're pretty much virtually getting the same player with Jalen Reagor. Same size, same stature, same everything. So, I mean, that kind of paused me a little bit that you brought that up because I brought that up last week about how you're virtually drafting the same type of receiver, but probably more reliable hands, better route running, and all that. I get that. I totally get that. But he's not a 6'3" number 1. He ain't in that ballpark. So it's
you talking about Marshall?
No, I'm talking about Rieger to Devante Smith.
Listen, Rieger, nobody had him as a first round grade at all. He was a third round grade at best.
No, I agree with you on that.
So it didn't make sense
about body
to take
stature.
him. No, but what I'm saying is
all that.
Devante Smith has a number 1 grade by almost all 32 teams. The concern about him is the weight. How much speed are you going to lose? How much mobility are you going to lose when he gains 20 pounds so that he can make it through a season in the NFL?
I agree.
Concerns about him. He's generational talent. It's just the transition to the pro game is not like Alabama in college where you can run around at 172 because the first time he gets hit by a linebacker in the NFL, he's probably going to break his spine. So he's got to gain 20 pounds and most of it's got to be muscle, right? So that's the only concern. Philly, I can't help their bad drafting. They got to draft the same guy, but this guy's at least a first-round grade. Whether he works out or not, we'll see because of the weight.
Right. Ryan, make a pick.
You know what? It's because of what Brant brought up earlier. I went edge here. I don't disagree that they need wide receiver help. They addressed somewhat with Sammy Watkins, so there needs to be action there. But this isn't a team that has a gunslinger for a quarterback. They are a running team, and they will go through that every single time. So to go back to my edge rusher, Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. This guy opted out of last season, so that's going to hurt. That hurt his draft capital a little bit. But as a redshirt freshman, dude, he killed it. This guy's a beast. In the makings of, for me, if he would have didn't opt out last year, I think he could have been a top 10 pick at the edge rushing position. I don't think we'd be talking about Kwity Paye like we have been because this guy would have been the guy. But due to the fact that he opted out, he's going to drop a bit. But I think this is a great value pick for the Ravens.
You talking about Rousseau?
Greg Rousseau. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, mate, who? What? Hold on a second.
I'm going off a little bit from you two. I'm gonna make Brant decide between the three of us who he wants to go with. I'm going with Aziz. I'm going with Aziz. I like Aziz better as an edge rusher. I think he fits the mold for what the Baltimore Ravens do. I definitely like his first step. I like his technique. I like his moves. A versatile moves from what I could see from his pro day and from his tape that I've watched on YouTube. But you know, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's being undervalued a little bit. But you know, at 27, Baltimore Ravens get him. The sky's the limit for what they could do with him as an edge rusher. Brant?
My issue, okay, I'm going to go ahead. So I initially had Rashad Bateman as my guy because I thought he would fit good as the outside, a little bit bigger, but he's gone, obviously, right? Terence Marshall is a great option, 6'4". I don't like the Aziz pick just because he's small. He's 6'3", 230. It's not a big guy. I don't know if you want to go that small in the first round. My issue with Rousseau is that he played 1 year in college. Yes, he had a great year, but there's so much unknown with him. And because he took the year off, did he lose his step? Did he stay in training well? Oh God, y'all made this hard. Let's see. If I had to pick, I would probably go Rousseau just because I like his upside a little bit more. But had Rashad Bateman been there, he's my pick. But Terence Marshall, I think they can get him in the second or a little bit later. But I agree. They need wide receiver help badly. And so I would go edge this time just to try to replace Matt Judon. Yeah.
All right. Pick number 28, Ryan, is the New Orleans Saints. They need receiver help. They need defensive help. They possibly may need a quarterback. Who knows? But what's your pick, brother?
This is a tough one because there is a lot of need. Now it's going to who's the best talented at the position that we need. Bateman's been the narrative. That's who I liked here. Obviously, he's off the board. I think that they go cornerback with Asante Samuel Jr.
What do you pick?
Asante
Samuel Jr.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, corner. Yeah, that's a good pick. I like that pick. For me though, I think they need pass rushing. And I don't like. I don't think Sean Payton's gonna go that route, guys. I think Sean Payton's gonna go Terence Marshall Jr. here. I think the receiver. I think he fits the mold for what they need to do. He's a 6 foot, like Brant just said, 6'3" guy, and he's able to move around and make plays for Mike Thomas. The question is, can Jameis Winston be productive this year? Can he fit the mold into Sean Payton's system and be the quarterback that he needs to be? I like Terence Marshall Jr. a lot, Alex. I'm going to go with him as their draft pick. Brant?
I'm leaning more Ryan with my pick.
You can make your own pick if you want.
Corner? No, I mean I can't.
You can leave it on me. I can make it. I can decide it.
Cornerback is where I'm leading, just because I don't think they could add freaking Eddie George in his prime back to that offense, and it's still gonna be shit because Jameis is running it. But for me, I actually went Greg Newsome as my cornerback right here. He's still available. I have him a little bit higher.
Write it down.
Asante Samuel. Greg Newsome is who I went with.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick.
I thought corner all day. I just think it's a little bit of a reach with Asante Samuel.
I agree.
But I like corner. They need corner. I think that's where they go.
Okay.
All right. Greg Newsome has been picked, guys, for the number 20. Hey, big, we go to the Packers now. Packers are up. Brant. Packers are looking for possibly. Is this a spot where we see Kadarius Toney or Terrence Marshall go in this slot for the Packers? They need receiver help. They got to help out Devante Adams. They got to help out Aaron Rodgers if he's still there, or Jordan Love, or do they go defense? What's your pick?
I went defense. I definitely wide receiver to me. Yes, it's a need, but it's something that can be handled. I like some of the slot guys in the second and third round. I think Toney is probably going to slip to the second round now. For me, I went linebacker Jamin Davis with this pick.
Okay. Alex. Oh my God.
I went Jalen Phillips out of Miami, the other edge rusher out of Miami. That was my guy. I think they need edge. As much as I like Elijah Moore sitting there to give Devontae Davis and Aaron Rodgers some help, they haven't picked a wide receiver. They haven't picked a wide receiver in 17 years or whatever. It's ridiculous how long it's been. I just think they're going to go defense and continue to build up that defense to help out. Because Aaron Rodgers has proved he doesn't need that much help.
Ryan.
God, man, Brant. For me, you had Toney on the head. That's my guy. It's Randall Cobb reincarnated for me. That's what they need. If they don't pick an offensive player in this draft, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, it's like, what do I got to do here at this point? Like, you guys got to support me at some point here.
You might leave him.
I say Toney.
I
think he fits the structure of when they had Cobb and wide receivers on the outside. They need somebody to get flashy in the middle, run some soft slants, and frankly just build up that yak. That's who I would have picked. That's who I'm going with, Toney.
Alex, what was your pick?
Edge.
Jalen Phillips.
Oh my God, I hate to do this to Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to do it. I'm going Jalen Phillips, man. I like the rush. I like the rushing, the edge. They need it. I mean, as there's two guys right now saying it. Packers need the edge rush like no other. I'm with it, Alex. I love everything that you said about him. Possible good value here, don't you think? If they get Phillips here at the latter end of the first round, I mean that's huge for Green Bay, especially. When we saw the lack of rushing against Tampa Bay.
If you look 5 months ago, Phillips was a top 20 pick, and he's dropped because of laziness. Really, is what is coming out of scouting reports, is that he just isn't motivated, right? And so, I hope that's not the case for Aaron Rodgers. Well, I mean, I do, because I don't want the Packers to do crap. But anyways, I think the kid's a tremendous upside if you can motivate him.
All right. Pick number 20. Is that 29 or 30?
30.
Sorry.
30.
My bad.
30.
Buffalo Bills. We're starting with Alex. No, who did we start with? Alex last time?
Yeah, it should be me.
Yeah,
should
Alex.
be me.
We're starting with Alex. Buffalo Bills. They have needs. Running back is one of them. I see two running backs up there. Nope, not looking at it. All right, where are we going?
I'm going Azeez Ojulari right here. They need it. They need a pass rush. I understand he's undersized. To me, he's in the 30 range, 30 to 34, somewhere in that range. I think he makes a lot of sense. He fits a need that they have, a very strong need that they have. He just fits the scheme, I think.
Ryan.
That's tough for me. I actually had Ojulari on. I'm going to jump on board with Alex here and say Ojulari. I like him. They're coming out of the guys in his camp. They say that his hands are some of the best to come out of this draft. This guy is aggressive. He comes in hot. He gets low. He gets to the quarterback fast. He's going to make a good NFL player. I jump on board.
Yep, I'm with you guys too. Great hands, good move, good first move. I think honestly his tackling is a little bit underrated. I like his tackling a lot. I think he's one of those guys that can really latch on and hold on to these players. They're not going to run away from him. Buffalo Bills needs a pass rusher. We saw it evidently against the Chiefs last year in the AAC divisional game. They couldn't get a hold of Patrick Mahomes for the life of them. They need a spark plug. I think Azeez is the spark plug that they need. Buffalo Bills are getting Azeez. Go ahead, Brant. Just say what you wanted to say for your pick for this one.
I had pass rusher too, but it was Carlos Basham. But I'm fine with Azeez here.
All right. Give me a second. Ryan, who are the Chiefs getting?
This for me is a value pick. I'm going Nick Bolton out of Missouri. They need to address that part. They need that for the Chiefs of how good they are. They actually do have, in my opinion, a lot of needs. Wide receivers, one of them. They need an offensive tackle, linebacker. For me, is the big one. That's why I think Nick Bolton available at this part of the draft. There's a lot of good linebackers out there that I think will go later. But when I was talking about the first 1.5 here, Nick Bolton for me was in the first round. So Nick Bolton out of Missouri.
Oh man. For me, I think offensive tackle is a big need for them. I just don't see offensive tackle glaring through me right now at this pick. I'm looking at a couple of guys, and maybe you guys could talk a little bit more about them because, like I said, I'm not really that versed yet. But I see Samuel Cosme. I see Liam Inchberg being two names, possibly being here for 31. Does that look like something that the Chiefs could go for? Or is it Nick Bolton at linebacker, which I do have as the number one linebacker on the board right now? Brant?
I have Dylan Radins as my offensive tackle. I mean, they lost both starting tackles. For me, it's the most pressing need because where did they get beat up on the most against the Bucs? Was offensive line. That's where I went. Offensive tackle, Samuel Cosme is another one that could work there, but I went Dylan Radins. I have him a little higher.
Alex, who you got?
I'm not breaking the tie. I'm going with the right pick here, which is Walker Little. The only reason this guy is not a first-round talent graded is because he took a year off for the COVID. He had first-round grades a year ago. He's only a junior. He's 6'7", like 309 pounds. The guy's an absolute dancing bear. I think, his tape, even though it's from 2 years ago, is very impressive. I think he's a steal at this point. And even if he doesn't play left, if you move him to right with a guy that size and that skill level, even if he's a little rusty because he took a year off, as long as he stayed in shape for the most part,
Yeah,
he probably lost
Alex,
some weight.
I got questions for you on this one because I actually liked Walker Little a lot. And as I did some more research on him, his 19 campaign was ended with a knee injury. So not only did he end his 19 with a knee injury, he only played like 6 or 8 games, but he missed all of 2020. So that you're talking about a first-round pick that hasn't played football in 18 months. I took him off my board because of that. I think he's got the talent, but he scares me.
Yeah, he got hurt in the first game of 2019.
Thank you. It was
and then
early.
Took off all of 2020. Dude hadn't played
so 2 years.
Nah.
That's scary.
Oh, that's how you put up the 2. Oh,
I'm going with him. I still like him. Sorry.
You probably hate the
hey,
shot on Isaiah
You
Wilson right
can't
now,
teach
too, wouldn't
size. You can't teach size. I'm sorry. You
They
can't
need
teach
defense.
size.
They need help. I'm going Nick Bolton. It's the most. I think it's the most easiest pick for them. It's the most reasonable pick. They gotta go linebacker. They gotta fix that defense a lot. So I'm going Nick Bolton. All right, guys.
Tackle for him. Goodness gracious.
Hey, let's
What?
watch the
I
Super
don't like the
Bowl.
tackles right here.
Let's watch the Super Bowl replayed all year next year if they don't address tackle in the first round.
Jesus.
They did address it.
They paid him $450 million. They're not going to protect him. That sounds terrible. What are the Eagles all of a sudden?
They got Foodie. They got Foodie from Patriots.
To play
We'll see.
guard.
Okay, and they also got the other guy. What's his name? Long. They got Long.
Stop.
They-
You can't draft like
addressed
Howie
it.
Roseman.
They addressed it. Don't say that they didn't address it. And
They
they
didn't
have
address it.
they have old boy that's doing as the doctor in Canada.
Lord.
That was one of the best guards in the game.
All right,
Doesn't mean
we'll
he
go.
can't come back at Bethune at tackle.
We'll go with Bolton. That's a terrible idea.
No, it's not. Ryan has a great beard and he just got married. Leave him alone. All right.
That makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. Tampa Bay's up, guys. Tampa Bay's looking like so for what I'm looking at is these interior defensive lineman, edge, wide receiver, interior offensive lineman. I don't look like what the need they have. I'm just gonna go and look and see the embarrassment of riches that I see right now. And why not? Antonio Brown's probably not gonna work out. Let's go receiver here. I'm gonna go Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore fixed that position perfectly. What they need. Why not add a receiver for Tom Brady and get that offense even more explosive? I'm going Elijah Moore.
No.
Brant.
First off, let's just not pretend like they have any needs, right? Like the Bucks are pretty set. So this is the definition of a luxury pick. However, for the second year in a row in my mock draft, I have them going with the son of a all-time great in the NFL. I think they go Asante Samuel Jr., similar to how last year they went with Antoine Winfield Jr., Asante Samuel Jr. the next year. I think it fits, and cornerback's a bigger issue for this team than most other spots.
So let me just say this real quick. The reason why I'm going for a receiver here, they possibly could lose out on a potential top 15 receiver next year in freaking Chris Godwin. So they're gonna need a receiver to fit that number 2 spot because I'll tell you right now, it's not Scotty Miller and it's not old boy who.
But no, if we're looking at where our mock draft is right now, if Kadarius Toney is here at 32, he's the guy for sure. Like there's no way they're gonna let Kadarius Toney hit the second round. But I think Asante Samuel fits what they need a little bit better.
All right, Alex, go ahead. Alex, you're up.
I don't like none of your picks.
We don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Brant just to piss you off. I like Asante Samuel.
That's fine. Ryan can tie me up.
I'm jumping on board Samuel. Hey, this guy. Let's not pretend like he's not one of the biggest DBs in this draft. Like this is a big boy. He cut down AJ Dillon last year, very impressively. Like this smooth tackler. He's got speed. He's going to be good in the NFL.
Yeah, and imagine he'll probably play the slot for them. Imagine that guy on your slot wide receiver or your nickel coverage. He can run with a tight end. He's big enough as a corner. That's a great pick. Listen, Kyle Trask is trash, and he's going to get drafted in the 4th or 5th round where he belongs. You could get him in the 4th or 5th round. Mike, calm down.
Okay. Next week we will be going over. Holy crap! What did I do? Okay. Next week we're going to be going over our draft and seeing what was the biggest reach and all that, and then we'll talk about that next week with you guys. And moving forward, guys, any final words?
Yeah, I got a shout out actually. Die hard San Diego fan all my life. Joe Musgrove finally got us a no-hitter. I was almost in tears this past weekend. It was awesome to see finally. Little stat known, we are the last team in the MLB to get a no-hitter. We have more no-hitters that have gone into the ninth inning than any other MLB team. Kind of crazy. Big Padre guy. Thank you, Joe Musgrove.
Shout out to Joe Musgrove, man. That's awesome, dude.
Hometown hero.
I personally know him.
Yes, your mom.
He played with my brother.
Knows him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If I see one more Facebook post with pictures from like when he was 4 years old, like give me a break.
So I work at the school that just Grossman High where he went. They just did a mural for him. Really dope mural. It is what it is. Don't hate, bro. Don't hate.
There's no hate. It's just like, Jesus, my feed. Please, my eyes.
Brant.
No, it was awesome. I honestly stayed awake as late as I could that night watching Joe Musgrove because I know how hard it is.
Joe Musgrove. Okay.
How hard it was for Padres fans to get their hearts broken over and over and over again. They finally had the cycle with Matt Kemp. And then I think Will Myers got another one after that a couple years ago. But now, Joe Musgrove breaking the wall down, getting the no-hitter. If he could have just not hit the hit-by-pitch earlier in the game, the perfect game was there.
Perfect game?
Yeah.
One hit-by-pitch away from a perfect game.
Alex, final words?
Yeah, listen, it was exciting. I watched the game, too. I just am tired of...
Hey, hold on. Carlos Rendon is 3 outs away from a perfect game. Chicago White Sox.
Man, way to jinx him. Anyways, listen, I watched it. It was exciting. I knew I was going to see posts because that's like the most famous person your family knows. I heard about it before this game. And so it's just like, every other day when I was in San Diego, I heard about, hey, I went to high school with Joe. Yeah, cool, man. Congratulations, bro. Like, it's a great, big deal. Good job. No, I'm playing. Listen, it's really cool. I'm excited. Obviously, being stationed in San Diego for 8 years, I have a special place in my heart for the Padres. Petco Park is, one of the top 5 parks for me all time. That goes with the house that Ruth built, Fenway Park, obviously Progressive Field because I'm a Cleveland fan, and then obviously Baltimore. And then obviously Camden Yards here in Baltimore is one of the most beautiful parks, right? So it's up there, man. It's great. I love the atmosphere. The fans are loyal. As far as the Padres, they weren't really for the Chargers, but that's besides the point.
But it is a very Padres thing that they would throw a no-hitter, and then 3-4 days later, somebody gets the perfect game.
That's
most San Diego fan thing ever.
Most Padres thing ever to have it overshadowed by a perfect game a couple of games later. Yeah, no, everybody stay safe, man. Got my first COVID vaccine today. Arm feels like I got hit by a baseball bat, but shut up. I let you have your time to talk about your man crush.
You just talked for like 2 minutes. Golly, don't you need to go get a tan?
Have a good week and a good weekend. Fuck Drew.
All right, guys. Hey, great show tonight, guys. Catch us next week. We also have our last episode next week for just our regular shit. And then the weekend after that, I gotta correct myself. The week after that is the draft week. We're doing a mock draft with like 6 other guys. I'm really excited to do that with our network. It's going to be fun. Ryan and Brant will be with us on Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, Alex and I will be joining the crew doing the draft. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. The draft is going to be exciting. So catch us next week, and we'll always try to do better. Until then, next time, guys, thank you.
Have a good week.
There, guys.
Thank you for watching this episode of Game Winning Drive on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.